The hallway was already echoing with trouble when Armin Hale sensed that something was wrong, a subtle shift of sound and tension that most people would ignore, but not him. The morning sun poured through the tall windows of Redwood District High, coating the lockers in warm gold, yet beneath the daytime brightness pulsed a ripple of fear. A scream tore through the corridor, thin and sharp like a glass edge. Armin, pushing his janitor's cart with its squeaking wheels, froze. For a split second, the world narrowed, just the scream, the terror behind it, and the heavy beat of his own heart. No one knew this quiet single dad carried a past no one could guess, a past filled with discipline, survival, and mastery of an art he had buried long ago. But in that moment, everything he had tried to leave behind rose inside him like a storm breaking free. If only the ones who joked about his janitor muscles knew what he was truly capable of. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and people who are far more than they appear, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Midnight Reports to help stories like this reach more hearts. Armin had come to Redwood to build a quiet life for his 10-year-old daughter, Sarah, who was his world. They lived in a tiny rented home on the outskirts of town, where the days smelled of dust and peppermint tea and the nights were filled with their laughter over board games and half-burnt pancakes. He was a janitor not out of lack of ambition, but because it was stable, honest work that let him pick Sarah up every afternoon. And honestly, he preferred the simplicity. After the accident that had taken his wife Maya, he no longer chased dreams, he chased peace. That peace, however, was fragile, held together with hope, routine, and a determination to keep Sarah safe from the unpredictable world that had once hurt them both so deeply. But peace had a way of being tested. Armin had already noticed the trouble brewing in the school before the scream. A group of senior boys had been passing around a new transfer student, a lanky kid named Ven, whose eyes darted like a rabbit trapped in headlights. Armin had seen the confusion and fear in the kid's posture the moment he arrived on campus earlier that week. Sometimes, kids carried invisible histories, and Armin recognized them because he and Sarah carried their own. He wanted to intervene then, but teachers were rushing, students were loud, and he had learned the hard way that a janitor's opinion didn't often earn respect. He simply kept an eye out, hoping the behavior would fade. But now the scream made it clear that the situation had exploded. Armin abandoned his cart and ran toward the sound. His boots slapped against the polished floor, echoing through the hall like war drums. He turned the corner to see a horrifying sight, Ven pinned against the wall by a muscular student known for his explosive temper, while two others blocked the path to escape. But what froze Armin's breath was the fourth figure standing behind them, an older teen from outside the school grounds, a local troublemaker named Brent Corrin. And Brent wasn't empty-handed. A small knife glinted in the sunlight, trembling with the movement of his unsteady hand. Armin's stomach tightened. He had faced knives before years ago, in a different life, when martial arts wasn't a hobby but a necessity. He hadn't used those skills since Maya died. Something in him had felt wrong about violence after losing her, like his strength had no place in a world that had taken so much from him. But this, a child at knife point, broke through that barrier instantly. Meanwhile, just down the hallway, four teachers huddled near a classroom doorway, peeking fearfully but not acting. Two office staff members whispered behind their hands, debating whether to call the police or wait for the principal. And somewhere behind Armin, as if life could be that cruelly timed, a few senior girls of the drama club giggled and nudged each other. They had been joking moments earlier about asking the janitor to save the day because they thought it would be funny. Armin, the quiet single dad with kind eyes and a mop. They had no idea that those words would push him directly into a real storm. Maybe he can karate kick the bully, one had laughed moments before the scream. But now, they stood frozen, their playful expressions melted into horror as Armin stepped forward. Armin moved with careful steadiness, not letting panic take hold. He studied Brent's grip, his stance, his unstable balance. Adrenaline sharpened his senses to a razor's edge, and the hallway seemed to slow. He approached without hesitation, his presence calm enough that Brent noticed him too late. The bully whipped his head around, eyes spiraling with fear and rage, and lunged forward in a motion that was fast but sloppy. The knife slashed through the air, dangerously close. Armin reacted with a precision born from years of forgotten discipline. His arm swept in a controlled arc, diverting the blade while his body pivoted. A swift, decisive movement, one he had practiced 1,000 times in the silent courtyard of his childhood dojo, sent Brent stumbling. With a calculated strike to the attacker's wrist, The weapon clattered across the floor, skidding into a locker with a metallic ring that echoed through the hall like a gunshot. Gasps burst from the students. The bullies stepped back, astonished. The drama club girls clamped their hands over their mouths. Even the teachers stared with wide, disbelieving eyes behind the glass panel of the doorway. And just like that, the attack was over. One move. One forgotten skill pulled from the shadows of his past. One moment that would change everything. Then collapsed to the floor, sobbing in relief. Armin steadied him gently, resting a reassuring hand on his shoulder. His voice was steady, fatherly, grounded in empathy as he told him he was safe now. That single sentence cracked something inside the boy, releasing emotions he had been holding in far too long. The aftermath rippled through the school. The police arrived minutes later, arresting Brent and escorting the shaken boys to the office. The teachers finally emerged, murmuring apologies, thanking Armin, but unsure how to address the fact that they had done nothing. The principal, a stern woman named Ms. Loxton, tried to maintain her composure while praising Armin's bravery. Students crowded the hallways, whispering rumors, retelling the moment with awe and disbelief, exaggerating details like kids naturally do. Word spread quickly, the janitor took down a knife guy. He's like a hidden karate master. He saved a kid. How did no one know? For the rest of the morning, Armin worked quietly, refusing the spotlight. He didn't like attention, didn't want to be a hero. His hands trembled slightly as he swept and mopped, the weight of adrenaline beginning to crash. He kept thinking of Sarah. She was the reason he stayed gentle. She was the reason he avoided reminders of the violent parts of his past. And yet today, he had been forced into a clash with danger again. When school ended, Sarah ran into his arms like she always did, her backpack bouncing against her small frame. Her eyes sparkled with pride when she heard from other kids what her father had done. To her, he was already a hero, but today she looked at him with even more wonder. Armin hugged her tightly, his throat burning. He had saved another family's child today, the way he wished someone could have saved Maya. That knowledge pressed heavily on him, but also brought a quiet sense of healing. The next few days transformed everything. A video surfaced, someone had captured the moment Armin disarmed Brent. It spread across social media, then local news, then national platforms. Reporters came to the school. The principal gave interviews about the importance of recognizing the hidden strengths in everyday people. Local businesses sent thank you notes and small gifts to Armin's home. A nearby martial arts studio offered him a part-time job teaching self-defense, seeing the poise and precision in his movement. At first he hesitated, unsure if returning to martial arts meant returning to memories he had long tried to silence.